In this newly revised and expanded edition, updated throughout with recent developments, geologist Robert Schoch builds upon his revolutionary theory that the origins of the Sphinx date back much further than 2500 BCE and examines scientific evidence of the catastrophe that destroyed early high culture nearly 12,000 years ago. Combining evidence from multiple scientific disciplines, Schoch makes the case that the abrupt end of the last ice age, circa 9700 BCE, was due to an agitated sun. Solar outbursts unleashed electrical/plasma discharges upon Earth, triggering dramatic climate change as well as increased earthquake and volcanic activity, fires, high radiation levels, and massive floods. Schoch explains how these events impacted the civilizations of the time, set humanity back thousands of years, and led to 6 millennia of a solar-induced dark age, SIDA. Applying the SIDA framework to ancient history, he explores how many megalithic monuments, petroglyphs, indigenous traditions, and legends fall logically into place, including the underground cities of Cappadocia, the Easter Island Rongorongo glyphs, and the Göbekli Tepe complex in Turkey. He also reveals that our sun is a much more unstable star than previously believed, suggesting that history could repeat itself with a solar outburst powerful enough to devastate modern society. Weaving together a new view of the origins and antiquity of civilization and the dynamics of the planet we live on, Schoch maintains we must heed the megalithic warning of the past and collectively prepare for future events.
Preface to the Revised and Expanded Edition. Initially, I was hesitant to produce a revised edition of Forgotten Civilization. For me, it is in some ways easier to start fresh and write a new book, and I have several in mind. However, Forgotten Civilization has found a wide audience, and I feel that at this point, nearly a decade since its original publication, readers deserve an updated version while keeping the tenor and feel of the original edition, first published in 2012. With this in mind, the original text, chapters 1 through 14 and appendices 1 through 5, has been kept intact. I have incorporated selected updates in these chapters, but none of these chapters has been fully rewritten. The major addition to this revised and expanded edition of the book is Chapter 15. In this new chapter, I discuss various developments that have taken place, evidence that has come forward, which supplement and reinforce the major themes of Forgotten Civilization. Now more than ever, I stand by the data and analyses that I present to follow. True civilization existed at the end of the last ice age, but was decimated by the natural catastrophes, namely solar outbursts, that brought the last ice age to a sudden end, circa 9700 BCE. Today, it is imperative that we learn from the past, as our active and sometimes unstable sun is posed to unleash another major solar outburst, the likes of which we have never experienced in modern times. The Carrington event, discussed in Chapter 12, is a minor herald of what the future will bring. While going through this revised and expanded version of Forgotten Civilization, I continue to be impressed by how much we do not know, how much we do not understand, and thus how much there is still to learn. Relative to some of the material in Chapter 14 in particular, I think of the early scientists working with electricity in the 17th and 18th centuries. They knew of electricity primarily in such forms as static electricity, spontaneous sparking, and lightning. How many people in circa 1740 could have imagined how we would tame, control, and use electricity for everything from cooking and heating to communicating through the internet and smartphones? In the future, how much better might we understand some of the topics discussed in this book? Topics that are highly controversial today, or even dismissed entirely by conventional mainstream status quo thinking, may be accepted as common knowledge in the future. And I wonder how much ancient people may have understood, what knowledge and insights they may have possessed that have since been forgotten. As I currently work on the revised and expanded edition of this book, COVID-19, an illness caused by the 2019 novel coronavirus, also known as 2019 nCoV, is spreading around the globe. Here in Boston, Massachusetts, voluntary curfews, stay-at-home orders, and other measures have been put into place. Working on this revision, the following quotation came to mind. Quote, "Here was a way to compensate for current unhappiness, by research into relics of the remote past, by exploring the remains of antiquity." Wandre, 1948, page 125. Unquote. And, by exploring the remains of antiquity, I believe we can improve our situation today. Robert M. Schock, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.